This episode of Inside the Goblin Universe brought to you by SeatsLink.com, the complete ticket experience. Use promo code GOBLINS with your purchase. SeatsLink.com.
Hello listeners, I'm Robert Vanderbroek and you're listening to Inside the Goblin Universe.
Hi, I'm Johny Webb, co-host of Dr. J Radio Live, and you're listening to Inside the Goblin Universe.
Hello, all you goblins out there. Welcome to the second part of this two-part series of Inside the Goblin Universe with our special guests, Johny Webb and Robert Vanderbroek. We're just going to jump in there. It's been going pretty fast. Take it away, guys. Johnny, that question that Ron had. Ron, one more time for the question.
Okay, my theory is that the ancients may have been experiencing crop circles as well, and places like Avebury and places like Stonehenge are the Paleolithic monuments to such crop circles.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with it in a sense. I think that what we've seen with the Avebury and Stonehenge, they're obviously more to do with equinoxes and sort of sun worshipping. Right. So they were certainly geared up to alignments and they understood sort of precisions. But in regards to the crop circles, we date them back to sort of 1500s where they were called devil's circles.
Right. Because
and it was an omen. If you had that, it was a negative experience for you. It wasn't. And I suppose for farmers today, they still feel it's a negative experience to have a load of people trampling on their fields, you know?
Yeah. But in my research, though, doesn't it seem like the idea of calling these things devil circles or devil marks was simply to make the common folk, the peasant folk, leery of these things and look to the church for answers rather than what might be going on in the natural world? I agree with you. Against them.
And I've always felt that as well. Sorry to interrupt you there, Ron, but I felt like when these things appear, it's not a sort of a phenomenon of fear in this day and age. You can accept it. But going back where, you know, if you come to the square mile of London City, you were confronted with gargoyles and dragons. And if you taken 4 days to come to London and found yourself in a city with gargoyles and dragons, it was supposedly to ward off, evil and negativity, but it would have an impression on people. But it's like saying years ago they used to use smoke to, communicate with Indian tribes, but now they pick up a cell phone.
That's right. And that's a perfect point. All this stuff changes, our perspectives change, our point of view changes. But another thing that I wanted to point out too, before I lose my train of thought, and Robert, this is going to go back to you, because you say that some of the most ugly crop circles are the most intriguing. Some of the simplest crop circles are the most intriguing, and I do agree. But in my research, what I have found out is that whenever we talk about the world, again, of the fairies, these elemental spirits, the idea of the fairy rings, we see this again and again, that if you want to get to the other side, if you want to get the answers, if you want to know what is beyond this world, there is ways to do it, and it's this concentric shape that we see over and over again. And Bryan and I just did a great presentation all over the world. All over the world, from Australia to China to the Soviet, to Russia, we see again and again in this rock art at this exact same time period, these concentric circles, saying, there's something going on here, folks. Like, I know there are a lot of our listeners are listening to this and saying, I don't know if I buy this. I'm telling you, folks, do the research. The ancients knew what was going on because they were in tune with the land. The only reason why we've separated ourselves is because we can go to the grocery store and buy our food, and we have electric lights that we don't have to, go get up at dawn and go to bed at sunset. We have changed the world. The world has never changed. We changed it.
Exactly. Yes. Beautiful. What you said.
One of the things I wanted to do while we're here, and we're going to do it in the second hour here on Inside the Goblin Universe, we have Robert Vanderbroek and Johny Webb joining us from around the globe, from the Netherlands and the UK. And one of the things I wanted to do, and everybody was kind of cool about it, is there were 3 experiments I wanted to do on this program and this broadcast, both the first one and the second one. I'm going to think it's going to go into the first one, but we went through the first hour really, really quick. The first one is the fact that Robbert does this thing, and we're going to talk about it in a minute as well, Robbert, where he will take a camera and he'll put an impression, and images will just start appearing there. Sometimes, if I'm correct, if someone says, "Give me Elvis Presley," you can you may be able to put Elvis on the film just by taking a couple of shots. All of a sudden, Elvis appears on a camera, any camera. And another thing you were able to do is you're able to kind of influence or touch someone. I think, Johnny, that you said something about him touching. Like try not to shock somebody, but being able to enlighten people in the fact that I can connect with you somehow.
Exactly. That's very nice that you say that. That we can do that experiment. I was do that in the Netherlands when I was coming on television programs. I was live on the television, and I was get the message that I can send energy in the living rooms from thousands of people, and then I was make contact with the source, and thousands of people was get apparitions from dead relatives in the living rooms. Some people was see angels. Was get lamps was flickering in the living rooms, or sometimes a table was moving, and that mean that some person that's watching over them on the other side say hello, I'm be there, it's okay with me, of that some picture is falling, and then they know that the person on that picture is on that moment say, I'm around you, I love you. But it was very interesting experiment, and also a lot of people was making pictures on that moment, and also things was appearing on the picture. So it's a very interesting experiment. We don't expect only things, but how more people expect, how more little is a chance that something will happening. We must say thank you for God when something is happening, but not push it too hard.
Right.
That's
and I just want everybody to know I'm not doing this to put Robbert on a spot. I'm doing this
because, no, I know,
because Ron and I we were talking about it, and I was talking about it with Johnny and Robbert the other day, and I said, let's see if this works, because I don't think too many people, if anybody, has ever done this. Another thing I would like to do is I'm going to put out a word right now, and the word is bumblebee. It's the bee, bumblebee. And
Bumblebee.
so,
nice.
So if you've listened to the first show, and you've listened to this show, after the end of this show, if you heard through the audio an EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, where you heard the word bumblebee, not said by me, Robbert, Johnny, or Ron, please let us know. Also, during the show, and I'd like Robbert and Johnny and Ron, I have this. I'm going to turn my camera. We're losing a little resource, but I just want to show everybody. So I have a smartphone right here. You can see it's lit up. Everybody has it. All I'm asking is for people to take 10 pictures. You could do it in bursts, and if you want, you could do it. We could try it now. Just take out your camera and you put it up there. Go to the camera setting, and all I'm going to say to you is point at any place and just take 10 pictures in a row and send it to us. And you can either send it at questions@InsideTheGoblinUniverse.com, or you could go to our Facebook group, which is Inside the Goblin Universe, and post it there. We just want to see what you get. We're not guaranteeing this is going to work, but it's an experiment. And let's hopefully, we're doing it now. This is Friday into Saturday. When this runs will be not this week, but the week after. We want to see if there's a residual energy that can be captured here, and we'll do it again. So I'm going to do it again when this plays and broadcasts and repost it. So those are the experiments, and we're going to try to do this throughout the night. But I want to continue with what you were saying, and I apologize for interrupting Ron.
Oh, no, that's no problem at all. We did promise an experimentation, and I do want to see this go to fruition. So, hey, that's no problem. I mean, cut me off whenever you have to, because I think what we have going on right now is very unique. I think it could be life altering to many people that are in a very, and I'm not psychic whatsoever, and I will tell you this, but I have a feeling that there are people out there right now that are teetering, in a world of depression, that this could actually save people. I truly do. I mean, like I said, I am not one of those people who claim to have any kind of psychic abilities or any kind of prophetic abilities, but I feel intuitively that if a person is not sure about themselves and they are at a stage in their life where it might be a dark, depressing time, possibly even thoughts of suicide, that listening to a program such as this can open them up to the truth that this world around you is this man-made world is the illusion, and the real world is what is right in front of you.
Yep.
And you can choose. Everybody out there can choose to simply leave the man-made world behind. It is that easy, my friends. It is that easy. Now, I understand that people need to have a roof over their head. They need to have an income and all that kind of stuff. But folks, trust me. And this is right out of Buddhism, if we want to look at different religions, the more possessions that you own, the more they own you. So think about it in those terms as well. Too.
Amen, brother.
Jesus, it was Jesus that said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." And he said that he wants us to have the kingdom of heaven on earth. The kingdom of heaven on earth is inside you, the individual. You have a seed that was planted by the Lord in you to grow and to nurture. People say, read your Bible, and it feeds that soul. It's like a nurturing milk for the spirit that runs concurrent to our physical flesh. But the flesh is what most of us have been illusioned to. But the truth is, you have a soul and you have a spirit, and that is an inner net.
Yes, that's right.
And we all connect. So when we talk truth, or you hear truths, that's you connecting to the internet, and the Lord is a higher dimension of that. And I understand myself as a Christian, a born again Christian, that I believe that we are children of God in the expression of God, as an individual, that He is of everything. So every one of us, in the sense, in our own individual expression of self and life, is an expression of Him still,
Oh, my friend, that's absolutely correct, and I'm glad that we are looking at different religions right now on this, so we're not just focusing on one. But when we look at, again, Eastern philosophy and Indian religions and the practice of putting your hands together in the prayer form and bowing to somebody and saying namaste, the basis of that is saying that I'm bowing to the divinity within you. Yes. Now think about that for a second, folks. What you're saying is that you could be the most vile human being out there, but because you were created, you have that divinity in you, and everybody deserves to be treated with respect, no matter how you are viewed by everybody else.
Exactly. Yep. I totally agree with it. Yeah, that's a very big lesson. Yeah, don't just other people. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I spoke to somebody one time in Denmark. I was wondering about the prison system there, because it's rather lenient. Well, by lenient I mean they're taken care of. The inmates are taken care of. They have good facilities, learning facilities, recreational facilities, and I was wondering, why it is different there than in the United States. And the response that I got is, these are still our family. This is our brothers and sisters. And if we would look at like that on a national scale, rather than just these great moments around the world where people view their fellow man as equals, I think that this world could change. I mean, the idea of the military-industrial machine would quickly fall apart if everybody believed this. And that's a fear. That's a true fear, because this is world-changing, world upsetting. We're talking about a revolution, but we're talking about a completely non-violent revolution, and that scares a lot of people.
Exactly, that's the problem. Yeah.
Isn't that something that in the 21st century we're more worried about a non-violent revolution than we are about dropping bombs on people we have no idea about?
Yeah,
exactly, Ron. But Ron, to bring it back down to what we were just discussing a minute ago, which is to do an experiment where energy is being put out, and you as an antenna, as an individual, we're all antennas to information, to waves, to energy, to vibes. And when I've done a radio show with what's his name, Uri Geller, and so Uri Geller was doing a similar sort of experiment where he was telling people at home to bring out your old stopwatches and your car keys and watch them bend and watch the watches start again. And I asked him, how do you do that, Yuri? And he said to me, it's not me, it's you, the feeler, the you are interacting. It's you that has the energy. So remember that tonight. It's about empowering you. You have it in you. It's just being conscious of it. And most people aren't conscious. They're denied the conscious, And that's what Jesus says, and the Bible says, is that we denied our first love. And the first love is God.
Yes.
It's the self, the conscious.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I'm reminded, let's go back full circle, how Robbert started growing up, where there's something wrong with him. No, Robbert is actually, in my opinion, if we're going to go along this, and this is what I've always felt, that people that have gifts for a reason, and people that are able to do these things early on, they're actually the antennas of God. And believe it or not, they're telling you things. They're trying to open your mind to it. And they're a vessel. And we're all vessels, but we're also made in God's image. And I don't want to get too, I don't want people to say, oh my God, they're trying to start a church on this program, which we're not. We're just telling you that if you are into this, raising your vibration, if you're into getting in touch with yourself and raise yourself to a higher level so you can have more experiences of crop circles, contact with other beings and elsewhere, and the ultimate is contact with, the Lord of, above, whoever you may believe in, then you have to get to this level. You have to open up and say, you know what? Maybe they're not crazy. Maybe they actually are the vessel. There's no difference from throughout history and throughout the Bible. There are individuals that have been selected and chosen by God to preach His message. There are individuals that are selected to be watchmen, to go over there and watch, and they're also messengers too. They're telling you, be careful what you're doing because God is watching. And every time people mock them, they laugh at them, and what happens? People are turned into pillars of salt. The earth is flooded for 40 days and 40 nights. So I'm not saying this is a doomsday thing. I'm saying we're in a certain area in time right now where we should be raising our vibration as a peaceful protest, peaceful resolution, and that really does scare the hell out of them because you can't control that, not even with every bullet on the planet.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer also that if there is any kind of cataclysm, it is man-made and not God-ordained. I think that we are actually doing this to ourselves right now. This is not divine punishment. This is simply human free choice spilling over. And I think that we need to look to a higher power because we all need to have a parent in our life to turn to for wisdom, for support, for a hug. Yeah, and that's basically what we're saying, folks. It's actually what we're saying.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. And I'm glad that we've all come from the idea of Johnny being a born-again Christian. I think that he's actually looking at this because, of course, I was raised Catholic, and you were raised Catholic as well too. And Bryan, Bryan is kind of a mutt.
I'm a mutt. I'm from all over, but I believe in the Lord God. I believe that Jesus. I believe in a lot of things, and I found that the way I was raised or grown up or was supposed to be raised, I found my own path. I was given a name, and I was named after as one of God's messengers. And it sounds very crazy, but when you're a kid, you're like, yeah, whatever. But I've been in tune with things, and I'm more in tune than other people are. And I pick things up left and right. Now, I'm not going to go into why or how I do what I do, but I know I've always been able to do it, and it was confirmed. This is a gift. It's not a curse, it's a gift. Like I said, Johnny, I say this all the time. I want proof. And I do get proof, but I'd like the lottery proof. But, like winning something. But the bottom line is he does not work that way. And I say he because I will be totally frank. If God was a woman, we'd all be dressed a lot better. Right off the bat, guys. We'd be looking sharp going out there. But, it's not what you believe in, and it's not my God is better than your God. The true worshiper of the higher power of God, whoever that may be for you, is the one that accepts everyone for who they are.
Exactly.
And that's what I
Yes.
do.
But you know, when I've
Exactly.
look,
That's
well,
yeah.
Robert is a phenomenon, and in some way, in the Bible sense, on a Christian level, they'd say, well, look, that's divination. You know, you're stepping outside of a Christian faith and value. You're taking on demons. You're taking on dimensions. You're dealing with things that are not in the light of the Lord. But from my understanding, this is all part of the light of the Lord. When I've
100%.
spoken to Robert about his interactions, about his own experiences, not abductions, but willingly going forward to different dimensions and different areas with higher beings, lighter beings, more higher vibrational beings. This resonates to me as truth. It resonates when he says to me that the Lord made all things. Robert asks him himself, like, I'm dealing with a tentacled being. I feel quite ugly with it, that if it touches me, and he gets a high conscience that says, look, Robert, I've made all things, and some things you have yet to see as humans, but I created all things, so don't fear this.
Yeah.
And so, to me, these are not twisted devil worshipping lies. These are real truths that if you really do have a connection to your spiritual self, and if you're studying that as a some way, you'll see that the interactions that Robert has are in fact, I'd say, spiritual rather than demonic.
Well,
Absolutely, Johnny.
Yes.
agree. And
Yep.
if you look back to when people were joining the priesthood and they wanted to be priests or that down that path, one of the key things that was part of whether you were going to go into the priesthood or not was having a calling to God. And a lot of people that have gone into and become fathers and priests and rabbis and bishops and whatever you want to call it, God talks to them. They have a vision of God. Okay?
Exactly.
But I also have to understand something. You don't necessarily have to be inside that box or that square of the church to be spiritual and of God. God works in mysterious ways, which is a phrase I hated my entire life, but it's the truth. And
It is.
he has
Yes.
people doing his bidding all around. And they may not be the ones that are sitting there with the collar on saying, bless you, my son, or the nuns or the sisters or whatever. So don't discredit the person that's coming there. Yes, question false prophets, but we're not trying to speak. I don't see anything here where Robert or myself or Ron or you, Johnny, have ever tried to say, we're the Messiah. We're just saying, we're saying you should believe in God. That's it. And that higher power will give you the connection to, on the paranormal side, where in the Goblin Universe, it will get you through the Goblin Universe and with ease and with enlightenment.
Exactly. And then some people, they claim that they are the reincarnation from Jesus, or but I will never ever claim that sort of things. That's not no. That's a big responsibility that but you have cult leaders, they say that, and that's very sad, and that will mislead lots of people. But that's also a lesson sometimes, when people listen very good to their own intuition, they can feel or something is true or not, or something is good or not. And that's the most important. Listen to your intuition. Then you feel or somebody is truthful or not. But you have lots of charlatans. Absolutely.
Oh, 100%. And something that's been proposed to me, and I've even proposed it, and I've had plenty of discussions that I know a ton of people that have abilities. And I always joke around the lottery. Give me the lottery numbers, and a lot of them say the same thing.
I will give them you. I will give them
no.
But
I'm
God
using
decide over this.
whether you win or lose. But the whole thing is like there are people out there that think because of this gift that they have to use it for good, and then whatever, they're not allowed to make money off of it. And I'm semi-addressing those people. I think it's up to the individual to do what they feel is their own right to do. If someone's a painter and that's what their gift is, they're there to paint and sell their paintings. We don't live in a society that's free. So if you're making money and you're a reader, a card reader, or a psychic, or a clairvoyant, or whatever it is, and you're that gifted, you're allowed to do. That's your gift. You're supposed to utilize your gift. And another thing, when you you do utilize your gift. Some people use that money for higher training. Other people use it just to live. I don't see anybody really going and living the lap of luxury that has ever had these gifts. I do see certain people in organized religions living like kings when, I think Jesus was a pauper, right? He gave everything away. And so...
Exactly, that's absolutely true. Some evangelists. I don't.
Evangelicalists.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm a Dutch guy, but I tried so good as I can.
You did a good job.
I hope so, but you have some, sometimes, they're walking smokings and, and they say, great is the Lord. And of course, the Lord is great, but they get a lot.
They say we've got a flood
money.
and we can't open these doors.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about too. And I actually liked I liked him as a person, but this is a guy that's making a lot of money. He fills it twice a day, every day. And I think 3 times on Sunday. You're talking about a 150,000 seat arena or something to that effect. I mean, he's making a lot of money.
Yeah.
But the Lord says, "Don't make no graven image to me."
Yeah. I'm not.
So understand that what we're talking about is something that's inside us. If He's going to tell you something, tell you what's inside you. Right. Don't tell you to give me your money and build a big palace and you can't come in it.
And another thing, let's get back in, if you can, for just we have about 25 minutes left to our second hour. But one of the things is a lot of the communication, a lot of people that have had interactions with extraterrestrials or higher power beings, let's say, they all these beings say the same thing, and it's very reminiscent of what we're saying right now. You need to change your life. You need to resonate higher. You need to not to give everything away and live a life of a pauper, but you need to bring more love into your heart. Be more tolerant of others. Teach them that way. Teach them tolerance. I think if we teach more people tolerance, then we would have a better place. But the way it is right now, there's so much tension throughout this planet. I mean, there's not a place you can go on this planet now that doesn't have we're a split second away from a war, or we're a split second away from my God's better than your God. I've experienced a lot of pain from this, the war on terror. I mean, unfortunately, one of my friends I grew up with, he's a great guy. He was blown up in the London bombing, and that does have a negative effect on me on certain aspects of this war on terror. But I also do research on it. I don't just sway on one side or the other side. So
I understand that completely. Yes,
God also said, it's really funny. It's in the 10 Commandments, and I just want to throw this out at everybody. One of them is, "Thou shalt not." They always say, "Thou shalt not kill." No, what God said was, "Thou shalt not murder." Okay, and I'm not saying you should go out and kill or murder anybody or kill anybody, but He did reserve the right that you have a right to defend yourself in certain things. You need to question things. You need to question people. When you're having an interaction with an alien or an entity that comes into and visits you, be there a shadow person, a ghost, a gray, Nordic, whatever, stop for a split second and say, okay, what's going on here? Assess yourself. Raise yourself to a higher vibration. It's going to scare you, but guess what? That's what happens when the truth comes. When people are enlightened and they finally get that knowledge, boom, it's a scary door.
Scary,
to open. But once you open it, you see it.
Exactly, and sometimes it creates aggression by people, and that's so sad. when they feel the love, they must feel that they're good how they are. They don't need to pretend something or to, but that's so nice or so free when you meet God or you meet that's really the purpose from it, that you keep it simple, not thinking too much, but feeling is knowing, and thinking is not all the time knowing. Feeling is knowing. Then you know, then you hear. People must create quiet moments, go in nature, and then. But I'm also sometimes I have worries about the technologic things that going on now, that people will scientists will starting to clone people, robots,
AI.
Yes, yeah.
Is it coming? Is it coming from a feeling of worry internally, or is it this part of your abilities, your gift? Like you're seeing a future. Like some people can see the future. And are you seeing a future that's just not looking right, or can you give us like a little insight onto that?
Yes, I have a feeling that it is. That it is not, that people are not ready to deal with things like cloning or the robots, and it can, of course, scientific invention is sometimes very good, and people can learn things from it. And I'm very I will promote, medical things that they can heal people, but when they will clone people, when they will make this fake consciousness and everything, the iPhone, the smartphone, lots of children sitting all the day on the smartphones, but also on the bike, they're sitting and they get accidents and they have no contact more with each other. They're sitting and, it makes, it's so, it feels so, in one way it's beautiful and you can communicate with the whole world, but in another way, it feels for me so,
it's like lonely.
So very lonely, yeah.
Dehumanized.
Right. I mean, like,
yes.
Ron has Ron's kids are at that age. Some of them, and actually probably all of them. I know mine are, and everything they want a phone. All they want is a phone. Give me a phone.
Yeah, phone. Yeah.
Go play outside.
Yeah.
No, give me a phone.
No. They don't ask for a ball or for a doll. They ask a phone, a smartphone, and
right.
Yeah.
Do you think this has effect on our consciousness as a society?
Yeah. I'm sure that it will make very depressed.
Yeah, it's a scary prospect. I weep for the future. I'm sure everybody's parents have said the same thing about us, and so on and so forth. But the fact that no one wants to communicate, and actually no one knows how to communicate, that I cannot see, not even 10 years from now, people wanting to do Skype call like we're doing right now. I'd love to put everybody's video on where we could all interact and mingle and talk to each other, because people can't even talk to each other. No, I'd rather text it. It's like
and that's the problem. But also that lots of people not communicate personal more with each other, and also they they try to kill the time with it. They're sitting, but it push God away. It push God away, and it push the intuition away. It only this. It feels so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Again, though, we were talking about the convention of a man-made world. We always talk, we split up the week in, Monday through Friday. Monday is a day that we all dread because we have to go to work. We look forward to Friday. So basically what we want to do is we want to say we want to throw away 4 days of our life as fast as we can to get to Friday so we can enjoy 2 days.
Exactly.
That's not what God put us here for. This makes zero sense. And if all the world would wake up and say, this is stupid, guys. We don't need to do
We're not batteries.
Exactly.
We're not born to be a bloody battery and then live the last 20 years paying fucking rent.
Exactly.
Excuse my French,
right. I understand. Look, I went to college.
And that's the possession, though, Ron. That is what is being possessed. Bills, all of these things are possessions, and the spirit is the truth. And it requires no possessions. It doesn't even require a body,
That's right.
But that's what Robbert is, in some sense, trying to bring a message over to, educated people, working people, good people, to let you know that is not the truth,
That's not the truth. That's right.
It's a truth. It's a reality. Of course it is. But it's not how you're supposed to be living life. You're born to be of joy. And doing a 9 to 5 and working for, the 1%, as we all seem to be in this day and age, it doesn't trickle down. And I don't see a feedback. I just see my shopping trolley getting emptier and my wages getting less and my hours getting longer. So I'm not happy about that, and I look for inward for a difference, and spirituality comes to me, and it helps me, and I come,
gentlemen, since I've been talking to you guys tonight, I really have had my mind opened a lot of different pathways. I've always been a spiritual person. I've always believed in God, and the communication with the divine is extremely possible and almost necessary to do it through nature. I've always believed in this intuitively, even from the age of a child, But tonight, talking with people like yourselves, it has finally made me realize that the human race isn't a bad thing. Human race, we all can choose. It's all about free choice, isn't it? It's all about freedom of choice. It's all about free will. We can decide to simply change. If we would all decide to change, everything is reset. The entire planet is reset. The entire human consciousness is reset. And hopefully if we teach our children, their children will teach their children. And, the Lord's Prayer, our kingdom come, will then actually be established on this earth, because that's what it's about, my friends. If you're looking at this from a Judeo-Christian standpoint, the idea of the kingdom coming isn't the idea of God placing it here. It is the idea that his followers are his hands and feet on this planet, and they're going to be the one to do it. They're going to be the one to do it, my friend.
Yep. Yes, exactly. We are all hands and feet from God.
Yeah. I hope I get a chance. I was going to say before this ends, I want to say I hope I get a chance to meet you two in the very near, because I would love to sit down and talk with you for an entire evening about this stuff.
Oh, I like that. Yes.
At a reasonable hour.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, likewise, Ron. I'd look forward to that.
Yeah, we're going to do our best. Ron and I are doing our best. We're setting up some stuff overseas, and we're trying to get some stuff brewing there to bring inside the Goblin Universe on that side and do some video work and investigations. And we're definitely, when we're there, we're definitely going to give ring you up, and we're going to, get together. I mean, it'd be at a pub or whatever. Just, it's worthy of a conversation. These are great conversations. No one does this. Everybody's trying to wow everybody on all these podcasts. Like, look, I got this guy, and I got that guy. I just want a free-flowing form of communication,
Yeah. And what happens, Robbert, with people like you, Robbert and Johnny, you both are now given the keys to inside the Goblin Universe.
Yes.
And you can come and go as you please. We would love to have you on anytime. This has been fascinating and eye-opening and mind-expanding.
Thank you. And thank you that you give us the opportunity to show people how they can listen to the feeling and communicate self also with the source. And I will say to everybody that listening now, the first thing that's coming up in your mind out of the blue is most all the time coming from outside. But when you think on somebody or on an old friend, or you think on your mother, and then the telephone is call you, and then it is your mother, and that's the regular telepathy between living persons. But we have also lots of telepathic context in our subconsciousness with dead relatives. When your grandmother is popped out of the blue in your mind, then she will not call, and she have no body more and no muscles, so she cannot call you on the telephone. But that means that she is thinking on you on that moment, that her spirit is around you. And you can also learn, it's the same like muscle training, learn to recognize things that coming out of the blue up in your mind with no reason. That you think, why is that coming up in my mind? And I use that also many times when I give readings. Sometimes I ask for the name from a dead relative from above to prove that I have contact. Sometimes I'm thinking on an aunt from me, and then I'm thinking, oh, maybe they have the same name. And then I ask it on the client, and then many times they say, oh, yes, that's true. Dus your brain is make sometimes connections or
premature connection, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's very interesting. But I will say to people, when skeptical people or debunkers say, intuition not exist, don't listen. Intuition exists, and God is talking through his heart, and please listen to it and follow your instinct, and then you will guide every time. And also accept that sometimes you get a message that maybe you don't want to hear, that it is maybe a little bit of threat for the ego, but accept that God knows things better than yourself sometimes, and God gives us what is good for us, but not all the time what we want, but what is good for us.
Yeah, that's the problem with what people have with organized religion is, it's not my way, or it's not like what I want. It's actually it is what God wants, and you know, just like being a parent, you're not gonna like everything your mom and dad have told you when you're growing up. You think you're gonna get X, Y, and Z.
That's exactly.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, I'm dealing with this right now on multiple levels. But as a parent to it, to my children, and my wife and I are like, what are we gonna do? And I'm like, it is what it is. That's it.
Yeah.
But I love the fact what you said to open your mind to this. Recently, we suffered a loss, and my daughter was very connected to her grandmother, and coming back, and I'm gonna do a brief story, but coming back to the house after we all got together to set up the funeral arrangements, something that I've been read and I've told, and there was a flower, right? A feather, right in our path late at night. It was just sitting there. So I took my daughter over. I said, "Look, take a look." And she goes, "What?" I said, "Look, what's on the ground." And she says, "It's a feather." I said, "Yes, but did you know that a lot of times when you come across a feather in your path, that means that somebody that you love that is not here is letting you know that they are here, and they're watching of you, and they're thinking of you." And
exactly.
That is, who she is. And she got
Can't imagine it like an angel's feather.
It is. It's
Yes,
kind of like
yes.
I know some people that, like, when their grandfather comes around, they smell a cigar, but it's not all cigars. It's a specific smell of a cigar, and I understand that because my dad smokes cigars, and I do too. So there's a certain smell. Some people smell rose petals, something that will connect you, or somehow to show you will be present. But there's also people like yourself, Robbert. I do it. Ron can do it. I'm sure, Johnny, you can do it because of it's we are also like watchers of this. We know some of the signs that are out there, and it's our job to enlighten people to say, no, you didn't have an encounter with X, Y, and Z. You had this, and that's my opinion.
Right.
But I'm thinking, it's a great thing to teach people, and we got to.
It is. It's a great thing to teach people, but the thing that I want to keep on reiterating is these are not new concepts, folks.
No.
These are concepts that are as old as the human race. We talk about seeing God in nature. This was actually categorized as the doctrine of signatures in the Middle Ages. If you folks have heard about that, I'm sure the British, this is a very British thing, because that was really taken down to a science that you could read the word of God in nature. God put out 2 books, the Bible and the Book of Nature, which we have completely forgotten about. But that was part of the religious understanding in the Middle Ages. There was no problem with the seeing God in nature, zero problem. That's part of God's creation, and we should read of God right in nature itself.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes.
God is behind nature. God is create nature, and that is his language. And also some people, when the people starting to be sick, they get sometimes also the plants in the garden automatically that they are good for them. The wind brings it, and it sounds maybe romantic, but I believe.
And Robbert, isn't it curious, too, to say that there are fairies that are associated with these herbs, too, So we could even take that even dimensionally deeper to talk about the idea of the intelligences behind this stuff.
Yes, exactly. It's angels. There is the angel world also, and the fairy world is working very strong with each other. But also the nature or the nature fairies work very strong to bring people also things and animals. But the difference between angels and fairies is that fairies have their own character and their own will, and angels are more collective. That's something different. But nature spirits can be very funny, very sweet, like a little pussycat, very sweet. They have a very high sort of baby consciousness, but then more adult, more growing up, very wise, but very sweet. It's when you get contact with this etheric world, that makes you also more sensitive, and you must watch out that the world, and when you go in the cities and when you meet the human association, it can become very hard in your heart. And when this is a very sensitive world, the world from the fairies and the nature spirits, and it makes you must learn then to do some sport or hug some big trees to ground yourself, to stay strong.
That's beautiful. And I will tell you this: we have a few minutes left. I'm going to have Bryan to reiterate our a little bit of experiment that we're going to do tonight. But I want to tell you before we sign off here, Johny and Robbert, I am a better person for having spoken to you guys, and I really appreciate that. So, Bryan, if you will, if you want to just reiterate the experiment, we can go over that with our listeners one more time.
Sure. So throughout this entire broadcast for both, we're going to be doing this for 2 weeks. So what I wanted to do was 3 experiments, and they were very simple. So the first one is we wanted to see if Robbert, using his gift throughout any part of the program, sending energy out to enlighten people, touch somebody, bend something, do something to prove that his presence is there. That's 1. 2, we wanted people, because Robbert can do things where images start to appear on photographs, and we're going to set these up. We're going to throw it on our website and a Facebook page, as well as in this video. So you want to check out our YouTube page, and you should subscribe to it at Inside the Goblin Universe. But we want you to take 10 photos, and you can take 20 photos, but just do it 10 at a time or 3 at a time. Email them us. Questions at InsideTheGoblinUniverse.com, or post them on our Facebook group, Inside the Goblin Universe. You'll see a section there. Just keep posting it. We want to see if anybody got something in there, an image, an impression, something strange, something odd, even if it's just blurry in one spot. Just post it. And the final thing we're going to do is I picked the word. The word is bumblebee. And we want to see, while listening to this program, if you listen to the broadcast, make sure you're listening and see if you hear some strange sound, or bumblebee is not me saying it, or Robbert or Johny or Ron, but you hear the word bumblebee, or even a bee's buzz, something. And I'm going to be checking this. I'm going to be listening to a lot of audio soon. So those are the 3 experiments. We've got a few minutes left. We've got about 4 minutes left.
And if you've seen, guys, also the fruit. If you've got fruit, Robbert, can you tell them about the fruit experience and how they can participate with that?
Yes, the people can hold apples bring apples by this interview, or bring it by the computer and do it on some plate or something, and let it stay there for a couple of days. Maybe sometimes it's immediately, it will appear in it, sometimes in the night when people go to sleep. People must also not be shocked when they see me, maybe an apparition from me. I hear from a lot of people that they see me. I get lots of emails that people see me. Some people in jail, they see me. My higher self is helping sometimes people.
Right.
Sometimes I don't not know that self, but sometimes I know, I experience it with my full consciousness. And when I be there, don't be afraid. It's good, and then you get help from out the other side, and then you see me as a sort of trust person, that you know that you get help through me. It stays very little. It stays very short, I must say, not little, short. maybe a couple of seconds, and then I'm go away. Just don't be afraid or that you think that I have broke in your house. No, I was not coming over the ocean, but it's my higher self.
Yes, and Robbert, let our audience know where they can find you or reach out to you. I know you have a website, rogervanderbroek.com, but where else may they be able to catch you? What other programs? Well, we have a couple minutes left.
Yeah, I will be guest by Dr. G in the program maybe this Sunday. We try to plan it, and there are coming more programs. Johnny is planned that for me, and I on Facebook. Dus people can follow me on Facebook. Dus maybe you can add it in the interview. Where people can find me on the internet, but people can find me also on the website. That's www, and then robertvanderbroek.com.
Yep.
And the same with YouTube. You can check out his YouTube channel, robertvanderbroek.com.
Oh,
yeah, and there you see also lots of people. They tell that they will see me in the house, that they will see apparitions from me. Also, the guy that was in jail in Peru, this guy that was responsible from the disappearing from Natalie Holloway, this Joran Vreemdesloot, was also see me in his jail and was experiencing for the first time love in his heart, that he realized what he was done, that it was very bad what he was done, but that he meet God in his heart more, that he learned to love other people more and come more by himself and in his love. But he was see me also. His lawyer was sent me an email that he was see me, and he is also in the video that he explained for the camera that he was see me also in his jail. But this is a famous cases, of course, but
Right.
there are lots of people. They have seen me and they was get help, but it's a sort of angel energy that took my form, that they know that they get help through my mediumship. Just don't took your baseball, and bam,
No one's gonna hit you. And while we have about a minute left, Johnny, where can everybody catch you?
Well, we'll be back on very shortly with drjradiolive.com, and you can find me on minds.com/Johny Webb. That's with the one N, JOHNYWEBB.
That's awesome. And also know, guys, that because you are Goblin Universes, you're allowed to just post to our Goblin Universe page any promos you want. That's how we do things, and we'll definitely be plugging you. We'll put it on our Facebook page, and you are friends of ours, so we'll have links to everything as well on our regular website. But Ron,
I'd love you to contact Robert, let him know how you get on, let us know how your viewers are, and again, if you want, I'd love to come back and chat with you guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
It's fantastic. Anytime. I don't know, I wish we had more time. But unfortunately, this is the moment where I defer to the boss, my co-host here, Ron Murphy, because we've got to go.
Yeah, we have to go, gentlemen. And again, anytime you want to come on, just give us a heads up and we will make space for you. I absolutely promise. I am thoroughly enthralled by what you guys offer to the world, and we must speak again, guys. We must speak again.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah, I like that also. Thank you. We will do that, and thank you, John, and thank you both Ronald and Bryan. Thank you very much that you give us this opportunity and that we have spread the message from positivity and love.
It was absolutely our honor, folks. Absolutely our honor. All right, so I'll tell you what. Yeah, as time is up here on hour number 2 shows with you, gentlemen. From inside the Goblin Universe, I'm one of your co-hosts. My name is Ronald Murphy.
I'm Bryan Bowden.
Until next time, folks, we'll see you again inside the Goblin Universe.
Thank you. Bye. God bless you.
dive into the ancient mythologies found around the world and tread through nearly forgotten legends as the crypto guru Ronald Murphy sets sail on his quest for mermaids. Travel through history and wade through the vast expanses of time and space as the author seeks to uncover why these beguiling creatures are so pervasive in human culture. On Mermaids, an exploration of mermaid folklore from ancient origins to modern culture is now available at Amazon.com. And be sure to attend the lecture that accompanies this book at the Cryptozoological Conference hosted by Lauren Coleman in Portland, Maine, summer 2018.